Alright, this is the logic puzzle assignment. Make sure you put your name in it. Four golfing buddies, Bob, Chet, Ed, and Fred, whose last names are Armstrong, Clark, Flanders, and Parker in some order, had their yearly golf match. We're going to fill in this chart here with the information that comes next. Notice we're going to use Y or N, and every cell that has a Y in it has N's in the same row and column. If you need more information, there's the logic puzzle hint sheet that's available. Bob gave Flanders a ride to the course, so Bob is not Flanders and Flanders is not Bob. When the game was over, Flanders had finished behind Armstrong but ahead of Fred. So there are three people that are listed right there. Flanders finished behind Armstrong but ahead of Fred. So Flanders is not first and Flanders is not last. Then it says that Flanders finished behind Armstrong, so Armstrong is not last, nor is he second to the last because we know that there are two people behind him. In the same way, Fred is not first or second. So that sentence gave us those three pieces of information because it talked to us about three people. The winner, Chet. So Chet finished in first. When we have a Y in a spot, we fill in the rest of that column and the rest of that row with N's. It says Chet was the winner. He beat Parker by 1 stroke. So Parker was second, which means we're going to put N's in each of these spots and each of these spots. And now we've got only one spot left here, so Clark finished fourth and Armstrong finished first and Flanders finished third. So let's fill those in right now. Clark or Fred, let's see here. Can we fill in any of those? Chet finished first, and Chet's last name must be Armstrong. Okay, with that information, since Chet is Armstrong, we can fill that in. And once we do, we have to fill in the rest of that row and column with N's. Oops, not M's, N's. Okay. Alright, what other information do we know? Fred finished third or fourth. So since he finished third or fourth, he didn't finish second, which means he's not Parker. Bob, let's see. Bob is either Clark or Parker. But Parker finished fourth, Parker finished second, and we know that Bob, no, we don't know that Bob didn't finish second. Let's keep trying here. Let's go back to that second sentence. When the game was over, Flanders finished behind Chet Armstrong. He finished in third place. Fred finished in fourth place. How do we know Fred finished in fourth place? Because Flanders finished in third place, which means Fred had to have been in fourth place. So if Fred was in fourth place, we have to fill in the rest of those spots. Fred was in fourth place, and he must be Clark. So Fred is Clark, which means Bob is Parker, which means Ed is Flanders, and I think we have all those filled in. Bob, we just said, is Parker. And Parker finished second, so Bob finished second, which means Ed finished third. I think we've got all the spots filled in. Ed Flanders finished third. Oops, third. Now let's fill in the one that you get points for. Here we go. Greg, Bobby, Marcia, and Jan are headed off to college to study their favorite subjects. One of them will be studying English Lit. They are attending different schools, but the two going to Penn State and Harvard hope to visit each other occasionally. Marcia and the student headed for UGA met in 9th grade before Jan and the chemistry major moved to town. So the four people are Marcia, UGA, Jan, and chemistry. Marcia is not Jan, which we already knew. Marcia is not UGA, nor is Jan UGA. Marcia is not chemistry, nor is Jan chemistry. And chemistry is not UGA. Is that all that we can say? Chemistry is not UGA. Yeah, because we don't know any more information than that. Okay. Neither Bobby nor the art major, so Bobby is not the art major, are going to Berkeley. So Bobby is not going to Berkeley. Art major is not going to Berkeley. And Bobby couldn't get into Penn State. We don't know whether the art major could get into Penn State, so that's all we can go by. Greg is not going to Berkeley, and the math major is not going to Berkeley, nor is the math major Greg. Marcia had a tough time choosing between math and science. So Marcia is not studying English. We already know she's not studying chemistry, so she must be studying math. So we fill in the rest of the rows and columns. So now, Marcia has to match math. Math is not Berkeley. Marcia is not Berkeley. Marcia is not UGA, so math is not UGA. Okay, I think those match, which means Jan is Berkeley. So Jan is Berkeley. Oops. And Marcia is math. Okay. Now let's go back to that row that told us what was happening. It says Marcia and the student going to UGA. So Marcia math and Jan Berkeley are two of the people. Jan is Berkeley, so we have to make sure Jan and Berkeley match. Jan is not chemistry or math, so Berkeley is not chemistry or math, which means Berkeley is English. Berkeley is English. Okay, so since Berkeley is English, then Jan is English, which means that Bobby is chemistry and Greg is art. Bobby is chemistry. Greg is art. I spelled chemistry wrong. Jan must be English, because that's all that's left. Cheyenne is English, which we already had. UGA is art. UGA is art. So Greg is, oops, UGA, this is supposed to be. So Greg is UGA, which means Bobby is Harvard, which means Marcia is Penn State. And I think we've got them all. Bobby is Harvard, and Marcia is Penn State. Okay, we got 8 things right. We got all our points. Let's fill in the rest of our chart. Math is Penn State, and Harvard is chemistry. And that's how you do this assignment, and you can turn it in. Bye now.